Happy Halloween and welcome to a new video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, nice to see you again. As today is the end of October, it is also the end of the month-long drawing challenge Inktober. And now, for those who don't know what Inktober is, I will be leaving links in the description to other Inktober themed videos, especially ones that I have used to help me get through this month of this challenge. So what Inktober is a drawing challenge where you use ink. Some people use digital, but the traditional thing is to use ink to draw a drawing a day. And so you do 31 drawings, and yeah, it's hard. It's fun, and it really drives your creativity and passion and drive, especially when it comes to wanting to do artwork and come up with amazing ideas, because you're given word prompts. And I found that this year's word prompts for Inktober to be very different. And I don't mean that in a bad way or anything. I mean that I, for some reason, was able to get an instant idea or 3 ideas for each word prompt. And I don't know why, as this is actually the very first Inktober challenge I have completed without taking a break. I have done all 31 drawings, and I didn't take a break or have to do any catch-up, which is really impressive for me, and I'm quite proud of myself. And because I am so proud of myself, that's why I'm making this video. I've decided I'm not going to, draw all 31 drawings for you, because that's going to be a long video. So I've recorded a couple of speed paints of me illustrating my Inktober word prompts, and then at the very end of the video I will show you a quick glance of the sketchbook I have used to draw my Inktober in, so you will be able to see all 31 drawings at the end of the video. You can also see all my Inktober drawings on my Instagram and my ArtStation. Links will be in the description down below. Now, as we get onward to the video, as you can see, I am drawing my Inktober, and I wanted to add a little bit of a spooky vibe or a story type aspect to all the illustrations that I did. Now, I want you to try and guess in the comments down below if you can figure out which word prompt is used for each individual speed paint. I mean, you can go to the end of the video and cheat and find out which one is which, but it's not as fun that way, but you can do that if you wish. My experience with Inktober 2019 has been quite an enjoyable experience and not as stressful as it has been in other years I tried to attempt it. I'm not really sure why, as I have a incredibly hectic schedule with both my jobs, my university work, and doing these videos on the side for fun, so I don't know how I've been able to squeeze more drawing and work in between my schedule. But I think that's a big part of it, and there is actually a couple of YouTube videos I watched before Inktober started, and I'll link those in the description down below because I found those to be really helpful when preparing for Inktober, so you can check those out. When it came to trying to schedule more drawing and work into my schedule, I found that picking a certain time of the day, but when I wake up and before I have to start working or go to work, I'd have to have like a small window open, maybe like an hour or half an hour. That way I'm not spending too long on the Inktober drawings, as I've personally found out that I overcomplicate my work sometimes. I add far too many details that are not very necessary, and looking back on some of my more fancier illustrations compared to my Inktober illustrations, I personally like the Inktober ones more, as I had to use a more negative space aspect to get the design and detail that I wanted from them. Also due to the fact that I had less time to work on these illustrations, I had to be clever with how I wanted to lay them out and design them. Now, what I would do is I would wake up, do my usual routine, and then sketch 3-4 different ideas using the word prompt, and then I would somehow combine them together or just pick my favorite one, and then I would just start sketching it over my lightboard, as you can see me doing in the video now. I found personally this worked really well for me. It might not work for everybody. I recommend trying out various different ways in how to get yourself to draw more. I know a friend of mine, she likes stockpiling sketches, so she will sit down, sketch constantly in a notebook, just every idea that pops into her head, and then she'll leave that book, forget about it, go back to it, and then finalize all those sketches into proper illustrations. I personally tried doing this myself and it did not work out well. I hated half the stuff that I ended up drawing. So let me know in the comments down below if that works for you, or if sketching multiple times and then trying to combine them together to make a new illustration works out better for when you're trying to draw. It'd be really interesting to see how other people try to sketch and combine ideas in order to make a finished illustration. I think that throughout the month of doing Inktober, there were a few things that I did find very difficult when trying to continuously do my illustrations, and that would be the area where I draw my work, such as my desk, as I do all my illustration work at my desk for my jobs and for fun, and also for Inktober. So when I had to set up the area I wanted to work in, I would have to constantly change it. So I usually work digital, and I had to put away all my tablet and my laptop, just so that I would have room on my desk for my lightboard, pens and sketchbook. Now this was quite annoying, as every time I had to go and do work that's digital, I would have to move all of my Inktober stuff and put I need a bigger desk, pretty much. I need a bigger desk, despite the fact that my desk is quite big anyway. So when it comes to Inktober, try to find an area that you're comfortable drawing in and that you can use just for Inktober. Maybe separate your desk in half or something with some tape, so one side is your normal work and the other side is more Inktober work. I ended up doing that in the end, and I found it really helpful, if not a little cramped here and there. But then again, I live in what's technically a shoebox, so I can't really complain too much about that. As I normally work with digital art as well, like I've said, I did find working with ink, especially wet ink, whether it be Sharpies or fine liners or anything like that, I've realised that I would have to apply the ink to the paper from left to right. Considering I am right-handed, if I tried it any other way, I would end up smudging the ink or getting my hand covered in black smudges, which can rub off onto the paper as you continue the drawing and just make it a complete mess, which you don't want. You want your illustration to be pretty or spooky. So I found that was kind of annoying, and I had to actually wear a little cloth glove just in case I ended up doing it wrong and smudging my whole illustration. Personally, I find I have that trouble with a lot of traditional art when it comes to pencil, charcoal, graphite, anything like that. I always end up smudging or getting really messy with it, which isn't very good, especially because the office I work in has carpet, which is not the best idea. When you're an artist, I should probably rethink the design of my office now that I'm saying this out loud. Isn't it strange that you never really think or understand certain things that can be quite irritating or unnecessary to have around you until you say it out loud, and then you'll realize, I should change that. I've realized more when doing these videos that I come to realizations like that a lot more often now that I'm speaking out loud, which is something I'm not actually used to. My throat gets really sore from all the talking that I have to do, and I don't even talk through most of my videos, as some of you may already know. I usually only speak for a few minutes and then let the music play, so hopefully all these videos will strengthen my vocal cords and my voice can rise to greatness, or I'll just get pains and have to stop talking for a little while. In my personal opinion, I do like Speedpaint, where there's just no audio or there's just music in the background. I find that way it's very tranquil, but I'd also really like the artist to talk in them as well. I know, hypocritical, but I'd like to understand or get a concept of what was going through their head as they were illustrating their Speedpaint. So it's kind of a hit and miss, it really depends. But those are the kind of videos I like and also want to create. Any feedback in the comments down below would be a big help. Also, if you have any video ideas, I'd be really interested in knowing what you guys would like me to create, as I have quite a few ideas that I want to do, but they're all very seasonal or they are very big projects and I don't really have the time to do them, which is kind of sad. So I'm really happy I was able to schedule in Inktober this month. However, I've been thinking of doing a poll on my Twitter. My Twitter is @Carlystration, of the smaller ideas that I have for videos, and then people can vote on what would be best for them there. And if no one does vote, then I'll just do eeny, meeny, miny, moe and pick at random. As a few ideas I have are redesigning characters or just drawing fan art of characters from cartoon shows I watched when I was little. as I've been watching a lot of old shows that I used to watch when I was younger, and I've realised some of them were not kid shows. I don't know how I have not noticed that they were not kid shows when I was little. I'm surprised my parents let me watch some of them, or maybe they didn't know. I'm not sure. It's amazing what you're oblivious to when you're a child. I mean, I get you had all the adult dirty jokes in kids' cartoons, like Cow and Chicken and all that stuff, and Ed, Edd and Eddy, but I'm not sure if any of you have heard of the cartoon. It's based off a comic. It's called The Boondocks. I don't know how I ended up watching that as a kid, considering I'm rewatching it now as an adult, and it's definitely not a kids show. Definitely not. No, it is not. Overall, when it comes to the outcome of all my Inktober drawings, I don't hate any of them, and I don't 100% like any of them. I think that they're really good, and I've been able to use the word prompts in a really creative way to create an illustration, and that's something I really like about the whole Inktober challenge, is where you're given a word and you base an illustration off that word. I feel like that's a really big part of what makes it more challenging, rather than just using ink. I do think out of all 31 drawings, my top favourite have to be 25, 28 and 29. Personally, because I feel using the word prompts for those days, I was able to really get a good atmospheric or wondrous illustration that wasn't overly complicated and looked quite nice out of them. I know when most people start Inktober, their main goal for Inktober is to finish it and have all 31 drawings. However, this year I changed up what I wanted to do, and that mainly has to do with this video. I decided at the beginning of the month that I wanted to combine all of my illustrations together into a video. in some way or form, and show them off for other people to see. And I think that's the main reason I was able to stick to the schedule I made and come up with such nice ideas, because I had a plan set in motion for the illustrations I have created. Now, when you draw a bunch of illustrations, whether it be for fun or for work, there's usually an outcome that happens when the illustration is done. The illustration is used for something, like you have concept art that's used to create like 3D character models in games, or a normal illustration that can be turned into a book cover. Now, I'm not saying all art has to be used for something. It can just be there and look pretty, or you can just do it for fun. But I found that if you have a goal that you want your illustrations and artwork to meet, then that just gives you more motivation to complete it and make it really, really great. And that is the end of the speed paints. I hope you all enjoyed that. Let me know which one is your favourite in the comments down below. And if you have done Inktober yourself, I would really like to see it. Now I can show you the final 31 illustrations I was able to complete throughout Inktober in the sketchbook I used. It will be really weird to not draw a little illustration every morning before I start work, although I think I might keep it up just because I feel like I have so much time in the mornings now that I don't know what I do with that extra bit of time that I would use for drawing. So you might see more videos like this, or I might try to find other monthly challenges. However, I made to make sure I do not burn myself out, especially with the amount of work I already have to do. Anyway, I hope you liked my video. Let me know in the comments down below, and by leaving a like button. If you're new and would like to see more, then you are welcome to subscribe, as I plan to upload at least once a week. You can see all of my finished illustrations on my Instagram at carlystration, my ArtStation, and I do small updates on my Twitter account. Both are also at carlystration. I'll leave links in the description down below, as well as links to similar videos to this one that I have watched and found really useful for when planning and prepping for Inktober and any other drawing challenges. I hope your Halloween is magical and spooky. Don't let the bloodsuckers bite, and good night.